And here we go. Yeah, I'm like way out of practice. I don't know. It's only been like 2 or 3 weeks since I did an episode by myself. I did an episode 2 weeks ago with Ro from Virginia, but yeah, it's been 3 or 4 weeks since I did an episode alone. So what's up, everyone? I know it's a little early. Today's Sunday, but I've got a couple hours to kill, and I just thought I'd get it out of the way now because I got too much shit going on. The rest of the week, Ro was telling me, I was saying something to Ro yesterday about like having a full plate all week long, every week, and she was like, "Well, it's really not that full. You have time to do." Because she's trying to get me into playing disc golf, which I never heard of until a year ago because a friend of hers now is a friend of mine, a guy named Mike. He plays disc golf, so she was saying like she wants me to get into like a social sport. So it's something that I'm looking into. I watched a video on YouTube, which the video is awful. Like if you Google I think I Googled like how to play disc golf, and it was the first video that popped up. It was like 3 minutes long, and the wind is just insane. The wind in the video, like whoever recorded this video, I don't know why they even posted it, because they really should have watched it first of all and known the wind was just too loud. Like, I don't know if they recorded it on a phone or if they recorded it with a microphone or what they did, but the wind was just insane, and the comments were just awesome to read. Even if you're not into disc golf, I recommend watching the video because the comments were just so funny. Like, oh, great. I was definitely looking for a video today of what it's like to stand in an F5 tornado. There were a bunch of comments like that. I think I commented something like, I wish this video had been recorded when it was windier. The comments are just awesome. And I mean, there's only like 300 views on the video, and the comments, there's only like 50 or 60 comments, but they're all fucking great. So, anyways, she's been talking to me about getting into disc golf. It's a little, I don't know, I actually don't know. I want to say it's a little late in the year to get into it, but maybe it's not. Maybe I could get in on 1 or 2 games, but I don't know how to play it. I've never played golf. I've had zero interest in ever playing golf. I get the general gist of the game, especially after watching this video. Like, if the basket is 300 feet away, then you throw your disc as far as you can, and then if you throw your disc 100 feet, just as an example, and then you go up and you get your disc and you throw it another 100 feet, and then you throw it another. Now you've thrown 3 times, and the goal is to get to the basket in as few throws as possible. So, yeah, I mean, it seems pretty easy to understand, and I could try it for sure. It's something that I could try anyways. I don't know. I've just never really been like a team sport kind of person. I've never been interested in any sort. Like, I played softball a few years ago, and that was a lot of fun, but that was totally like a beer league. Like, Rose softball is completely different from my idea of softball. Like, I want to be drinking between innings, which, if I ever played, a game, like if I was ever at like one of Ro's games and they were like, "Fuck, we're down a person, we need a guy," and they asked me, like, I would play, and I would play as professionally as possible. I wouldn't be drinking or anything like that. I'd be trying to make an impression, because I would want them to be like, "Hey, you did really good. If we ever need you again, we'll call on you, whatever." Like, but this one that I did was just like, it's a small town. It's Fremont, New Hampshire. It's a small town. They put it out there saying, "Hey, we're going to do a adult softball league this summer. Anyone that wants to sign up." And it was like over 30, I think was the thing. It was over 30. So, and it was fun. I mean, the first season, I think I played 3 seasons in total. And the first season was a ton of fun because like probably 200 people showed up, or I'm sorry, signed up. And out of the 200 that signed up, there was like 80 that consistently showed up to games. And it was 4 different teams of 20 people. So, you didn't even get to play in every inning, which is good and bad, because there were some innings where you could just sit out and hang out on the sidelines and drink beer and shoot the shit with other people playing. But then there was so that was the first season, and the first season my daughters came to. We had 10 games. We had game. Maybe it was more. Maybe it was like 12 games. No, it was 10 games because we played once a week, and it's just kind of alternated. Sometimes we played on Monday. Sometimes we played on Tuesday. But every week, with the exception of I think 1 or maybe 2 weeks, I would go and pick up my daughters, and then they would come to the field with me, and they'd watch me play. And my oldest daughter, she was playing softball, so she'd be watching us, and she'd give me pointers on how to hit better and stuff. And it was just a really awesome season to play. But then the next season, like, fewer people signed up, which kind of surprised me. But fewer people signed up the following season. But I think they still had 2 teams. They had enough people to put like 20 people on 2 different teams. Instead of 4 teams, we had 2 teams now. And again, played once a week. And then the third season, like 50 people signed up. Like enough people, like barely enough people signed up to even justify a season, because they were like, we already know that 50 people signed up, and there's a bunch of those people that aren't even going to show up. And they were right, because only about 15 to 20 people showed up per game, and the way that they did it was like there would, like, it was basically like 20 people would show up to each game, and it would be like, okay, if you're up to bat now, then there's like 4 or 5 people playing infield, and then there's 4 or 5 people playing outfield, and then when this inning ends, then those people playing infield are up to bat. The people that were up to bat go to the outfield. The people that were in the outfield come to the infield, and it just rotated like that, and it was really fucking stupid. There was just no commitment. There was one night where I showed up and only like 6 other people showed up, so they didn't even bother playing. Plus it sucked that, like, Monday nights, just like gun shop guys, only maybe worse than gun shop guys actually. Just like gun shop guys, it's fucking Monday night. And it's impossible to get out of work from the post office at a reasonable time on a Monday. So like, and it's Portsmouth, so it's, it's a 35-40 minute drive to Fremont. So, if I'm lucky, I'm getting out of work at 5:30, and I get to get out of work, fly to the field, and then play. And I hated that. I hated that with gun shop guys. I hated that, that feeling, that pressure of, like, gun shop guys is starting at 8, but we're, we all want to be there at 6:30 or 7 so that we can shoot the shit for an hour before the show starts. And, so I'm getting out of work at 6, and I got to fly to Brentwood and then just sit there for an hour or hour and a half. And there were nights where I couldn't even, there's always Monday nights where I can't get out of work until 6:30. So that part sucked anyways. The Tuesday games were great because I'd get, and at the time in 2016 when I first played on Fremont, I was living in Epping, which was only, 15 minutes away from the field. So I could get out of work, I could go home to Epping and get changed and maybe even chill out for a minute before going to the field. But when I moved to Newmarket, it's not like I could get out of work, go to Newmarket, then go to Fremont, and then drive back to Newmarket. Like, it all just sucked. So I don't really know where I was going with that, but yeah, Rose softball, very different than mine. Oh yeah, disc golf. So anyways, we were talking about it yesterday, and I'll try it. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'll give it a try and see what happens. I don't know if it'll be this year or next year, but I'll try it. I'll try it out. It seems cool. And I think it would also be cool. Like I go to virtually every one of Roe's softball games. I go to every one that I can make. If I can be there, I'm there. I was just there this morning. And granted, she's playing right now. I wanted to hang out for that one, but it's just, it kind of takes a chunk out of the day because I also wanted to come here. I wanted to do this. I got my own shit to do at my place. I got cleaning to do and stuff. So I have stuff that I have to do. So I was able to go to her first game. And it's cool to stand on the sidelines and cheer her on and cheer on her team and whatever and see all those people. But I just can't be that. I just can't be there all the time. So, but for real, did y'all see the Diamondbacks no-hitter? Kid's got talent. I don't remember who the Diamondbacks are. I feel like that's a softball team. I could be wrong. That's a comment from Julie. And Justin says, how are you? Justin, my boy from 4HM Clothing. Use offer code adulting. Offer code adulting gets you 10% off any order over $50. Disc golf, I'll try it. I'll give it a try. But yeah, that's what I was saying was that, Roe, I go and I cheer on her, all of her games, and I would like something where she can be on the sidelines cheering me on. I think that would be cool. I think that would be a little bit of a cool role reversal because I don't really have anything like that. Like, what is she? She can't she can sit on the ground and watch me fly. She can watch me take off and then land, and that's about the end of that. What else do I have? I have podcasting. She can sit in the corner or, occasionally join me on a podcast, which is cool and fun. Of course, it's always fun to talk to her. So I mean, that's the kind of stuff that like I do. Like those are my hobbies, if you will, that she can join in on. I was thinking about looking into 3-gun, doing some 3-gun competition shooting, but goddamn, I'll look into it, but I can only imagine how fucking expensive 3-gun is. I mean, you figure you're easily going through a few hundred rounds per, competition. So, I mean, that, a few hundred rounds. I bought a box of 100 rounds the other day because I went and shot Venom, my 300 Blackout 9-inch pistol. I went and shot that the other night, and I fucking love that gun. I'm really excited to get my suppressor out of NFA jail. But it is super convenient that White Birch Armory has that on-site range, so I can go and buy it, and it's bought and paid for, and I can go and I can shoot it on their property. And it's so quiet. I was shooting, and they got a range officer there to make sure everyone's being safe. And I was shooting non-subsonic ammo. So I was shooting supersonic ammo through the suppressor, and the range officer came up and asked me if it was subsonic ammo. And I said no. And he was like, man, that thing is so quiet. So I have a box of 20 rounds of subsonic ammo. But I'm waiting for the suppressor to get out of NFA jail so I can shoot it outside and see just how quiet it is. Because I think it's going to be very, very quiet. So I'm eager for that. I'm looking forward to that. The NFA tracker website right now says Form 4 e-file, which is how I bought my suppressor. Form 4 e-file is taking about 200 days. So I bought mine in late March. I think it was like March 23rd when I bought mine. And so that means that it, my stamp should come through sometime in October is what I'm hoping for anyways, but I don't know. It's funny because there's days when I totally forget about it. In fact, there's more often than not, I don't think about it at all. I wouldn't even say once a week I think about that I have this suppressor sitting there in Dover just waiting for me to pick it up. Um, but you know, it'll come through eventually. But then, like I mentioned it the other day, I was like, God, when I was talking to those guys, they brought out the suppressor for me. I talked to them, and I was like, yeah, I'm hoping, October sometime. And this guy at the counter was like, yeah, I filed mine in December and I'm still waiting. So, his is well over that 200-day mark. So, I wish there was a way for the NFA to just be like, here's where you stand in line. You are number, 50,000 in line right now. And then look tomorrow and be like, okay, you're number 45,000 or whatever, just to have a general idea, especially to have a general idea of like, okay, they're processing this many per day. I'm this number in line. There's really no reason they couldn't do that. If they're going to fucking continue this bullshit of tax stamps for NFA items, then they should at least, there's no reason that they couldn't tell you where you stand in line. But either way, I'm looking forward to the fucking problem that I had with Venom the other night. If you don't know, me and Ro named my 9-inch pistol Venom. It's an all black 9-inch 300 blackout pistol. I bought it in 300 blackout specifically to suppress it because 300 blackout is great suppressed. It's super quiet anyways, even without the subsonic ammo. So that's Venom. And so me and Ro went and shot it in like April. And I didn't realize there was a problem. I thought there was a gassing problem. I thought that the gas block might need to be adjusted. So we go shoot this thing, and it fires. I fire the first magazine, no suppressor, and it fires fine. And then I put the suppressor on, and it fires another magazine just fine. And then I take the suppressor off and fire it unsuppressed again. And it's, again, now it's not firing fine. It's firing around, and then it's not ejecting the case. Or I'm getting a double feed, is what kept happening to it. So I thought there was a problem with the gas. I thought that there was a gassing problem. The gas block needed to be adjusted. There wasn't, because then I put the suppressor back on. It shot fine again. I thought that there was a problem where the gas there wasn't enough gas coming down the gas tube to push the bolt all the way back. That's what I thought was happening. So then I go again the other night. I shoot it again the other night, and now it's having this problem, suppressed and unsuppressed, where cartridges are not being ejected. There's double feeds. The guy on the range 2 or 3 times had to come over with a push rod to push the spent case out of the barrel. So there's that problem, and he suggested maybe there's a problem with the with the ejection something. I can't remember the name of it now. Either way, there was a problem with the bolt. Basically, he was saying there might be a problem with the bolt. The ejector on the bolt. So I went home that night, I took it apart, and I looked at the bolt, and I couldn't really get a good look at it. It's not very well lit in there, and I didn't have a bolt to, stand, to put next to it and be like, oh yeah, there's definitely a problem here. So I took a picture. I was able to zoom in on it a little bit, and then I posted it on Facebook and asked a couple of my gun friends, like, hey, I don't have one handy to compare this to. Do you guys see a problem here? I think there's a problem here, but do you guys see it too? And sure enough, every gun guy that's on my Facebook group, or my Facebook page rather, was like, yeah, there's definitely something. Yeah, that's definitely broken. It's wasted. That's why cases weren't ejecting, because the ejector wasn't grabbing onto the spent case and pulling it out. So I went and bought a new I ended up having to buy a whole new bolt carrier group, which was also stupid of me because I totally forgot I have a bolt here in the safe. So I have a bolt here, but either way, oh well. Now I have an extra bolt carrier group with a bolt, with a functioning bolt, and I actually have a extra bolt carrier group with a non-functioning bolt. So I don't mind having a bunch of extra gun parts. Like, I have so many gun parts. My buddy has a ton of guns, and I remember once he asked me to come over and help him clean up and organize his basement. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I went over and I'm helping him clean up and organize his basement, and he just like pulled out parts. Like, as we're cleaning and stuff, he's like, oh, here's a part, here's a part, here's a part. And we're cleaning up, and he built a gun just like sitting there. He was like just as we're cleaning, he's like, oh, here's a bolt, here's a barrel, here's an upper receiver, here's a lower receiver, here's a buffer and a buffer spring and a buffer tube and a stock. Oh, look, I built a gun just by cleaning up. And I always thought that was just so cool to just have so many extra parts that he could just build a gun. So I don't mind having a bunch of extra parts. I don't think I have enough extra parts to build a gun right now, but I do have a lot of extra parts just kicking around here and there, so, which I don't mind at all. I have enough extra parts to at least get a gun started. So, and once in a while, if I'm like at a gun store and I have an extra $100 in my account that I'm not really doing anything with, and there's a lower receiver, like a stripped lower receiver, I'll just buy a stripped lower receiver. That's the ATF serialized piece that I need. So sometimes I'll just be like, oh yeah, I'll just buy a lower receiver right now, and then I'll just have an extra lower receiver, and I can just buy some parts here and there if I want to. And that's what I love about ARs. That's why a lot of people that own ARs in the first place own so many, because they are just so easy to like piece together. Like, you can just you can buy just pieces here and there. You don't have to go to the store and drop $1,000 in one day. You can buy just a little bit at a time and build it over time if you wanted to. So, but yeah, anyways, I'm eager now that I have a functioning bolt, and it's like a cool bolt because it's adjustable. It's adjustable specifically for running suppressed. So you can adjust the bolt. You can take a little flathead screwdriver, and you don't need to take the bolt out or anything. You just insert it right through the ejection port and take a little flathead screwdriver, and you can adjust the bolt for running unsuppressed or suppressed. There's 4 different settings for how you're running your gun right then. So that's cool. I'm happy with this build. I'm excited to have it complete so that it can just be my go-to gun, my go-to self-defense weapon. So, anyways, moving on. What was I? So, let's see here. Oh, this guy. I gotta tell you about this guy. So I've been going to the gym for 2 months now. 2 months as of yesterday. I go to the gym Monday through Saturday every week for the last 2 months, and it's been great. Like, I'm down 20 pounds. First of all, my midsection is looking so much better. I took pictures and I share them with Ro. Like, I took a bit, the first day that I went to the gym, I took a picture of, it's just my midsection. It's like my neck to my waist, my torso, if you will. That's the section. That's like the part of me that I'm most concerned about. Like, I'll get to working on legs and biceps and forearms and triceps and all that other stuff, but for me, like, my biggest problem area was definitely my chest, because I looked like I needed a bra, and my stomach. Like, my stomach was just like, whoa. Especially when I look now at how my stomach looked 2 months ago, it's not pretty at all. In fact, I would say it's embarrassing to me, anyways. Like Ro is always like, "I love you no matter what. I love how you look. If you're gonna go to the gym, if you want to work on yourself, just know that you're doing that for your own self-esteem. Um, and I support you." She's totally supportive of it. She's like, I totally support you in it, but just know, like, for me, that's not an issue. Like, I'm not looking at you going, "Oh my God, you're gross." Um, so she's super supportive of that part. But I did not like how I looked at all. I was fairly comfortable actually with how I looked. But but I knew that I just was not looking healthy. I wasn't looking the way that I want to look. I'm going to be 39 this coming week, and I don't want to. I don't want to look like that. Like, I want to, and I don't want, like, I remember my father telling me because he worked narcotics in state police, so I remember him telling me a long time ago, like my mother was still alive. So, and I was probably in my teens or something. And I don't remember how the conversation started, like where this came from or whatever, but I remember him telling me that working narcotics, narcotics is very different today because they basically just use CIs now. At least that's my understanding of it. Now they're just, when they want to send someone in to make a drug buy, they just send someone else in. They don't usually send in officers. They just send in someone else. And then, the officers make the arrest afterwards, which is safer. But back in the 80s, when my father was doing it, he was the one that had to go inside and sit with these people and make these buys and whatever. So he had to look the part. He had to look kind of like a dirtbag. He was a New Hampshire state trooper with hair as long as mine, down to his shoulders. He had this big giant beard, probably a bigger beard than I have right now. And he said it was embarrassing to go out to the mall with my mother because he knew that there were people looking at the two of them, and he said, how beautiful my mom was, and it was embarrassing because he knows that these people are looking at the two of them thinking, what is that girl doing with this piece of garbage? What is she doing with him? And that's kind of how I felt with Ro, again. And I assume, just like my mother, Ro is like, I love you, specifically you. I don't care about what how you look like. Her and I, we talked for a month or more before we actually met in person. We were just talking on Facebook for a while before we actually met in person. So we kind of fell in love with each other. We didn't say it, but I think that we probably kind of fell in love with each other's brains. The type of people that we are. We kind of fell in love with that before we even met in person. Which sounds cliche or corny, and I don't care. That's how I feel. But that's, I kind of felt like that two or 3 months ago, just kind of looking at myself in the mirror and being like, God, I got this beautiful girl, who everyone adores. And then I look at me and I do worry that, I don't know, that might have been my own self-projection. I don't think that anyone I don't think that anyone actually thought that to themselves. But I assume that maybe there might have been a couple of people that were like, I don't get it. Like, you get this beautiful girl who's dating this guy that just does not look good. Maybe anyone who doesn't know me or has never talked to me might have been looking at me like, oh, why is she with him? Like, physically, she could do better. So, I don't know. That was just my own thoughts on it. And I was like, I'm just going to, I got to do something. And walking a few miles a day with the post office, there's this common misconception with people in and out of the post office that are like, oh, you walk all day, so you must be in really good shape. You must be really healthy. Like, okay, yeah, I can walk 3 miles. Good for me. But firstly, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a fucking physical fitness trainer or whatever. But I do believe, I'm pretty sure I'm not mistaken on this, that your body will build kind of a tolerance and be like, okay, this is the normal day to day. And then if you're still eating fucking Twinkies for snacks and McDonald's for lunch and, coffees and whatever for breakfast, then your body's going to be like, yeah, fuck you. We're going to put all, you want to eat all this garbage, then we're going to put that weight on you. And my body did put on plenty of weight. And, again, to look at the before pictures, basically the day one picture compared to today, huge difference. I'm happy with my progress. Like, I went to the gym consistently for 3 or 4 months a few years ago, and I obviously lost weight. I lost weight then, but I wasn't losing weight the way that I am now. Because what I was doing something similar to what I am now. I was doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday running, but I was only running like 2 or 3 miles. And then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I was doing push-ups and sit-ups and a little bit of weights. And now, fast forward to now, what I've been doing for the last 2 months, I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I run, but I'm running, 3 miles, 4 miles. Last Friday, I ran 6 miles, but that was kind of an anomaly because I had the day off. I had the entire day off, and Ro had to work, so we got up together at like 6:30, and I went to the gym, and I was like, I'm gonna go for 6 miles. Because here's the thing, here's what it was that I had seen the men's 10,000 meter Olympic run, and these fucking guys ran 10,000 meters in, I think they all came in under 13 minutes. Like, I don't remember what the winner was. The winner was like 12 minutes and 48 seconds or something like that. But I think they all came in under 13 minutes. And so that's 6 miles in 13 minutes. It's like a 2.5 minute mile or something like that. Like, these guys, and you can see them. They like start off at a, maybe a comfortable pace. Probably still a faster pace than what I could run. If my 1 mile right now, like, I can run 1 mile in like 7.5 minutes, 7:45. I can do 1 mile. These guys are doing, these guys start off doing that first mile probably around 7 minutes, and they gradually increase. And then that last 2 or 3 laps, you can see them just turn the gas on. I mean, they're screaming. And I know I've told that story kind of to a few people who are like, that's not possible. I've done the math. I mean, as long as my math is right and the Olympics are telling the truth, 10,000 meters translates to 6 miles. It's a 10K. It's like 6.2 miles. So yeah. So I did mine last week. It was not 13 minutes. I came in at like 56 minutes, I think, is what it took me to do it. And I want to get that time down by a lot. I don't see myself doing like a half marathon or anything like that. In fact, I'm not even sure I see myself doing any sort of competitive running. Like, not even competitive, just like, I don't see myself signing up for any fucking charities anytime soon to do like a race. I just like to get on the treadmill. And I know treadmill time is very different from road time. If I ran that in 56 minutes, on the road would probably take me about maybe 60, 62 minutes. I know there's a big difference there between the treadmill and the road. Out on Pease, the air base, the airport that I fly out of, the runway is actually just over 2 miles long. From end to end is 2 miles long. I would love to be able to get on that runway and just run from one end to the other, because I feel like that is easier to run from one spot to the next spot and be done. Like, that always bothered me in the military, doing the 2 mile run to run from one spot down a mile and then you turn around and come back. Like, I always hated the turnaround because you're losing time. Whether you like it or not, you're losing time. It really doesn't even matter unless they fucking find a way to curve the end so that you can like run up the way the NASCAR drives up on the corners in the banks. Unless you could find a way to bank the turn so that you don't lose any speed coming back. That always bothered me. I don't like running. It always bothered me in the military to run your 2 miles, but you're like, when I was home here in the States, it was like running through a neighborhood. So you have, they're not massive hills. You're not running like a 20-degree incline or 20-degree downgrade. But you are, running up some kind of incline. So that always bothered me. Like, I think that, if they could get, P's to be like, okay, no flights are coming in here for the next hour, or whatever, it shouldn't take, most people in the military, it shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes to do your 2-mile run. And then those people that have a running profile can do their little walk somewhere else. So, but anyways, so yeah, I've been going to the gym. So last Friday when I do this 6 miles, right, I'm sitting on the treadmill. I'm on one end, and then there's like, the way that the treadmills are set up is that there's a line of treadmills, and then there's another line of treadmills right in front of you. So I get on mine and I look down, and it's like it's Friday morning. The gym has been, in the 2 months that I've been going, there haven't been many people there to begin with. So it's always it's easy in there. Like, you're not fucking shoulder to shoulder with people. There's plenty of space. So I look down, and there's this guy on that row that's in front of me, and he's down there, and I see him with it's hard to explain for the audio, even for the video watchers, anyone, but I think you'll get what I'm saying. This guy's got the treadmill going, right? So the band is running, all right? And I'm looking at my band going, and I had my speed turned up to like 7 or something like that. It's like an 8-minute mile. And I'm looking at my band go, and there's these words on the band that say Life Fitness. And so I can kind of gauge what his speed is at based on my speed of how quick that band is going. So he's running about my speed, maybe a little bit fast, quote unquote running. Because here's the thing, his feet are on either side of the band. So he's just standing there while the band is going around and around and around. He's not running at all. He's not doing any movements. He's absolutely doing nothing. He's got his feet planted on either side of the band, and he's looking up the TV. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, maybe he's just taking a break. I totally get that. I'm okay with that. But I look over, and the whole time, and just once in a while, like maybe once every 5 minutes or so, he would put his hands on either side of the treadmill and lift most of his body weight, probably 90% of his body weight off of the ground. And then he just kind of put his feet on the band and just kind of just touch the band a little bit, and he's not running. He's just kind of, his feet are just kind of tapping the band as he moves his feet back and forth. And then he'd only do that for like maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and then put his feet back on the sides for another 5 minutes or so. And we ended up being on the treadmill for about the same amount of time, because I go out and I get started doing my thing, and he's already on the treadmill. And when I finished, he finished up only a few minutes before me. So I was on the treadmill for 65 minutes. He had his treadmill running for about the same amount of time. Actually, those treadmills time out after 65 minutes. So he was on there for probably the full 65 minutes doing exactly this. 65 minutes of that band just going around, and his feet on the sides. He never breaks a sweat. And then at the end of the 65 minutes, I saw him take his phone out and take a picture of the screen. I was like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Like, I'm on this thing, I'm covered in fucking sweat. My shirt is just sweated all the way through. The screen is covered in sweat because every time I'm moving my arms, sweat is coming off of my arms and flying onto the screen. So he's just, there's just sweat everywhere. I'm a fucking mess. There's this guy Barry at the gym, this older gentleman. He came up while I was running, and he was like, man, like, he's running. I can't talk. I can't do that. I can't hold a conversation while I'm trying to run. But he comes up and he gives me a thumbs up, and he's like, man, you are fucking killing it here, man. You are fucking, because he could hear me just pounding the fucking treadmill as I'm running. And he's like, man, you are doing awesome. Good for you. You know, you look great fucking running like that. You look like a goddamn Viking. And then I actually talked to him afterwards, and he was like, man, I can't, he asked me how old I am. I was like, I'm 38. I'm going to be 39 in a couple weeks. And he's like, man, you're out here just like, you're out here holding time with some of the 25-year-olds that I see. So that was cool. But yeah, I couldn't fucking believe this guy. Take a picture of his goddamn treadmill screen that he didn't even run on. He didn't do anything. He just like, I remember, I'll never forget in the military, and I think about it sometimes now when I'm doing push-ups or sit-ups or running or something like that. Because there were people in my platoon or in my battery in basic training who, like, they were doing improper push-ups, like when they would smoke us, for those uninitiated, for those people that weren't in the military, when they say like, when you say like, oh, the drill sergeant smoked us for fucking taking an extra cookie at lunch or something like that, getting smoked is when they punish you via push-ups and sit-ups, mostly push-ups. So, when you do a physical fitness test with the military, there's a standard way to do a push-up. And if you don't do it that way, then you are going to be disqualified. Those push-ups don't count. So there would be these people when we were getting smoked who would be doing these improper push-ups. And the drill sergeants would say, you're only cheating yourself. And so I think about that, when I see this guy running, quote unquote, running on the treadmill, and he's not really running at all. Like, dude, you're just cheating yourself. Like, why'd you even bother coming here today? What are you doing? You should have just stayed in bed. If that's what you want to do, if you just want to come to the gym and not do, like, I see that so often too. Like, I go to the gym, I go to the gym and I try to work out hard because I know where I want to be. I know what I want to look like. I know I don't want to fucking look gross or whatever. And some of these people, it's not even that they look gross. They don't look gross. They look fine. But I see them and I don't get it. They're coming to the gym. Like, I look at Dwayne Johnson, right? If you've ever watched his workout stuff, like, he's in the gym just pushing himself to the limit. And he's in the gym for 6 to 8 hours a day. I wish that I had 6 to 8 hours a day to dedicate to the gym, but I don't. But I mean, from the time that he gets there to the time that he leaves, he is just pushing himself as hard as he can. Then I see these other people who are in the gym, and maybe they've met what they want to look like, but they're in the gym and they do like a light set on some weights just real quick, and then they'll look at their phone for 2 or 3 minutes. And I'm not even exaggerating. 2 or 3 minutes, they'll like look at their phone, check their fucking Facebook, maybe choose a new playlist or something, and then, go back, go and do another light set. Like, for me, I get on there and I do my mile or 2 or whatever. If it's a weight day, then I'm only doing about a mile, maybe 2 miles. I do whatever it is that I'm going to do. And then I go and I'm doing mostly calisthenics. I was talking to a guy at work yesterday about how technically I don't even need Planet Fitness for what I'm doing, because I go and I run, and then I do a lot of body resistance. I do like a lot of push-ups and sit-ups and lunges and stuff that doesn't require weights at all. But I do use some of their weight machines, but I put as few seconds between sets as possible. Like, I'll do a set, whatever, whether it be weights or just calisthenics, between sets, I'm only waiting about 20 to 30 seconds, and then I'm right back at it. And like, I want that sweat. I want to go to the gym. I want to finish my gym session, whatever it is, and have my shirt be fucking gross. Like, I want to take my shirt off and have it, to the point that I don't, but have it to the point that I could wring it out and there's just fucking sweat dripping off my shirt, because that's what I want. So yeah, but anyways, I'm down 20 pounds, so that's cool. I started at 275 and I'm down to 255 pounds right now, which is more than I thought. I mean, I've lost 10 pounds per month in 2 months, and that's that's a good ratio as far as I'm concerned. It's about 2.5 pounds per week, so it's more than I thought. 2 months ago, and when I started going to the gym, I thought, maybe I'll be down 10 pounds, 15 pounds in 2 months. That's where I would have thought that I'd be right now. I was psyched to step on the scale last night and see that I'm down to 255. And who knows? I don't know where I'll end up. I'm trying to care less about the scale than I have in the past. Like, in the past when I went to the gym, I would get on, I was checking the scale twice a day. I was getting on the scale in the morning and getting on the scale at night. And I was obsessing over it. And I was like, I only lost fucking half a pound today. Like, what the fuck? I got to change what I'm eating. I got to work harder at the gym. I was obsessing over it. This time around, because I know that you plateau at a certain point and muscle weighs more than fat. So the more muscle, I can burn off fat. But the more muscle that I build, I might end up just meeting a balance there of like, here's the muscle that you've replaced fat with. I think that for me, I just want to be comfortable and look good. I want to feel comfortable in my own skin where I can like take my shirt off around row and feel like, okay, I do deserve to have this girl. Like, despite everything underneath, despite the, beauty is skin deep. Despite that, I want to be able to, go to a softball game and know that nobody, people are looking and being like, okay, there's two athletic people in that relationship, not one. So I feel better about where I'm at. So there's that. Like I said, moving on from my gym stuff. The last time that I had a podcast was me and Ro. We were broadcasting from Virginia. We had a fucking awesome time. It was for her to play softball. We did that episode like between games. Highly unusual. No beers because she had another game in an hour. So, and we were on a time crunch. So, that part of it, like, I would much rather have her back on sometime in the near future because, for a regular episode, like a nighttime Saturday night type of episode, because that was fun. Don't get me wrong. I always have fun talking to her, but that felt like there was like a time crunch of like, okay, we have to get started this time and then we have to finish at this time and then we have to go and do this and whatever. So like, I don't want that. I want to be able to sit and talk with her and shoot the shit. But it was good to do it then because otherwise I don't think it was going to get done. It was Saturday afternoon. Her game ended at like 6 o'clock Saturday night. We went out to dinner afterwards. She took me to dinner, which is always cool. Like, it's cool. Our relationship is cool in that regard where it's like, we're just not traditional in any sense. We're completely against the grain. We're both our opinion on marriage is that right now, as things stand, like today, we have no plan to get married. There's no timeline of like, okay, in a year we should be engaged, and in 2 years we should be married, and and in 3 years we should, XYZ, and in 20 years whatever. Like, there's no timeline of anything. The only reason we've agreed, the only reason that we would get married as it stands right now is if it was like for a purpose. Like, if one of us lost our insurance and we really needed the insurance, the other person really needed the insurance. Like, that's a reason to get married. Who knows? There's a handful of reasons that we might get married, but as it stands right now, there's no plan for it, which is great. Um, I already told, I already see, we already see the posts. We'll post a picture of the two of us, and someone will comment something with like an engagement ring or something like that. When are you two gonna get married? That type of stuff. So I'm already prepared for our 2 year anniversary, which is still 9 or 10 months, no, 9 or 10 months away, maybe 11 months away. It's like 11 months away. No, it's like 10 months away. I'm already prepared for our 2 year anniversary for those comments, and to address it just right off the bat and be like, we're not getting married. It's not in the cards. It's not in the future. Like it's not. We've talked about it plenty. We talked about it right off the bat. Like, we've both been married. We both did the thing. We both had the wedding thing, and we don't really see a need to do it again. We're very happy the way that things are right now. So, but anyways, yeah. So we went to dinner Saturday night, and then she ended up injuring herself playing softball. She pulled something, so we went and got some like icy hot and heating pad and stuff to try and get that mended up as best we could before her next game the next day. And then Saturday, that was Saturday night, and we didn't get back to the hotel until like 10 o'clock or something, 10 or 10:30, and it was late, and we're tired. We've both been out in the fucking sun all day, and she's been playing all day. So really, when we did the podcast that day was the most opportune time to do it, because it wouldn't have happened Saturday night. There's no way it would have happened, and even if it did, it wouldn't have been good. So, but either way, it was fun, and had an awesome time just watching her play softball in a tournament, and to go and see and meet all these new people was so much fun. And then she lost her first game on Sunday, and basically it was like, okay, if we lose the first game on Sunday, then that's it, we're going home. And that's what happened. She loses her game, and we hit the road at 10 o'clock. Fucking traffic in New York. I can't believe they've not figured this fucking thing out. New York has been a fucking city for before cars, since before cars. I can't believe that in all this time they haven't figured this fucking thing out. We left Virginia at 10 a.m. and GPS said we would arrive home at 6:30 p.m. We didn't really stop. I had a full tank of gas leaving Virginia, so we didn't stop for gas until the New Jersey-New York line. And right before getting to that line, we stopped for gas. And right before getting to that line, we hit traffic already. And it's like, a 26-minute slowdown or something like that. So we stop, get off the highway for gas, get back on the highway, and it's just stopped traffic. Just the whole way through the entire city of New York, just everything is completely stopped. It took us an hour and a half, I think, to move. It was maybe 15 miles. I don't even think it was that far. I think it might have been like 10 miles. An hour and a half. I mean, I probably could have run it faster. Maybe. I don't know. That might be an exaggeration. But I probably could have come close to running it faster. It was just completely stopped traffic. And then, it wasn't much better as we moved out of New York. We get into Connecticut, hit some more traffic, get into Massachusetts, hit some more traffic. Nothing was as bad as New York, but I mean, god damn, we ended up getting back into New Hampshire at like 8:30. So the whole, all these slowdowns cost us 2 hours, which was annoying, but whatever. We had fun riding together. Yeah, we just had an overall fun night. So, and the whole trip was a lot of fun. And I told all the people that I met, I was like, this is not going to be the last time that you see me. Like, I'm definitely coming to another one of these. I wish that I could go to every single one of them, but that's a little ambitious. But I said to Ro, I'm like, dude, my biggest thing now is I'm going to have to plan out my vacation times in the coming years of like, trying to balance them between snowmobiling and going to softball tournaments. So Um, moving on. I talked to my father last night, which was nice because if you remember, I'm sure you do, maybe. About 4 episodes back, I had a bit of a blowout, and then a week later, I ended up finding out that he had heard my blowout, and it included parts of him and other people. So we weren't really at odds or anything like that. We exchanged one email each, and neither of them were extremely polite. That's the best way to put it, I think. Neither of them were really great. So last night I finally came over to talk to him. I actually came over last week. I came over last week on a Friday, to just, not even to talk to him about that, but just to kind of set the tone and be like, hey, we're good. And we were, I sat in the kitchen and we talked back and forth. We talked about some dumb shit, like politics and COVID and how's work, that type of stuff. So then last night I came over to talk to him, and it was good to talk to him. And I mean, the end of the night, we talked for a while, and really the biggest takeaway was, he cares most about me, my brother, and my sister, and that he and I are good. That was the biggest things to come away with. He said, you and I are good. We can still sit and talk whenever you want. And I mean, it's not like I never questioned whether or not he cared. I knew that he cared about me and my siblings. I never questioned that. But, he said last night, like, something unique happened to us 15 years ago, being that my mother was killed by a drunk driver. And he's like, I don't think that we ever recovered from that. I said, absolutely. I think that you're absolutely correct. I don't think the four of us ever fully recovered from that. I don't know that we ever will. So it was just nice to talk to him last night, and at the end of it, we gave each other a big hug and said I love you, which was nice. So I'm trying to blow through the rest of my topics here because I can't believe how quickly an hour has gone by. Let's see here. So tomorrow I'm gonna fly again. I have a new instructor, sort of new. He is actually the first person that I flew with. His name is Mikey. He's a funny guy. I like him. I like Mikey. I see him all the time whenever I go into CHI to do a lesson. I see him all the time there. Or if I deliver their mail, shoot the shit with him. I don't know if he's going to allow me to stay as his student. I hope he will, but I don't know, because we are both bigger guys, and it is a small plane. So not only we might not like fit comfortably in there together. Not only that, but there's also a weight, consideration, for that plane, for the small plane. It's a Vans RV-12. So I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I know that I found it because I had to do like a test. Excuse me. I had to do a test. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find it on the Googles. Vans RV-12 weight limit. Let's see if that gives me anything. Here we go. So the aircraft weighs 340 kilograms. Its maximum takeoff weight is 600 kilograms. Let's see here. I don't actually know. I don't know how that translates. Here we go. The class limits maximum takeoff weight of 1,300 pounds. Stall speed with no flaps is 45 knots. Specifications. Maybe it's under specifications. Crew, empty weight is 740. Gross weight is 1,320. So the plane itself weighs 1,320 pounds. That's probably with a full tank of fuel. Max takeoff weight is 1,320 pounds. I have a mosquito flying around me, which is awesome. Okay then. I don't know here. Maybe the empty weight is 740 pounds. Gross weight, max takeoff is 1320. So if me and Mikey each weigh 250, that's just a guess. I don't know what he weighs, obviously. So that's like 500 pounds. So that's 1,240 pounds. That only leaves 80 pounds. But that's with a full tank of fuel. I assume that's with a full tank of fuel. I don't fucking know. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I know that I've flown with Mikey once before, so I'm sure we'll be fine. But I'm excited. I'm anxious to fly. I'm excited and anxious to fly because I haven't flown in 6 weeks, which is not good. That's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to, ideally I'd be flying every other week. I'd be flying twice a month. And I was doing that in the beginning. And I wish I could afford to continue that. But it's just so expensive. I mean, it's just so incredibly expensive the lessons are so expensive. They're the equivalent of a car payment really. So I'm hoping to, I'll do this one. And then I've been saying, for 2 or 3 months now that I was hoping to go solo pretty soon. I'm hoping that this flight, I'll get some stuff done with Mikey, and then maybe the next flight I'll be able to solo. That would be cool. So we'll see. Going back to my dad real quick, just wanted to give shouts out to all those ghosts out there, the friends and family that watch and listen that have never said a word to me. I get this fucking mosquito just flying around me. Yeah, all those friends and family that just have never said a word to me, and then only give a fuck when I talk about them. So you can consider this me talking about you. I know who you are. It's fine. I know who I am, and that's what matters to me. I have so much left to talk about is what I have. Me and Ro had kind of a passionate discussion last weekend. These things don't happen often with us. Firstly, we don't call them fights or arguments. We have passionate discussions. So we had a passionate discussion about a week ago now, and it was uncomfortable. I fucking hate when these things happen with her. I absolutely hate it. And thankfully they don't happen often, only about once a month. Something comes up, we have some sort of conversation about whatever we're going to converse about. So we have this passionate discussion last Saturday night, and neither of us are happy, with how it's going, how it ends. I ended it maybe even a little prematurely. I ended it by just getting up and being like, I'm good. Okay. We talked about it. I brought it up. So really it was on me. I think it was on me to end it. But I was just like, I'm good. Okay. I don't need to talk about it anymore. We both said our piece, and we both, there's nothing left to talk about it. And then I sit back on the couch, and we're both angry about the whole thing. We're not really speaking to each other. We're kind of just eating while the TV is on, but neither of us are really talking. So I pulled out my phone. This was her idea. I pull out my phone and I open up the camera and I take a selfie of the two of us. I looked over at her and I was like, hey, look at the phone. And she looks at the phone. Neither of us are happy. We're fucking angry face all day long. And then the next morning we both wake up and, we hug and we're fine, and we talk about it. We didn't talk about it more, but we kind of just said like, hey, are we good? Like, she stopped me out at the softball field and says, are we good? And I said, absolutely. We're definitely good. I love you very much. And then we're sitting on the grass and take another picture, take another selfie of the two of us just smiling and having a good time. And I took she suggested that 2 months ago because everyone just sees how happy we are on Facebook, and that's what that's like the majority of couples. Everyone fucking shares just all these happy moments, and then when things go bad and things end, people are like, "Oh, I don't get it. You guys are always so happy together." Like, me and Ro are just like every other couple. We have disagreements, and we don't always see perfectly eye to eye, and but I would say 98% or more of this relationship is exactly what people see on Facebook. It's all the smiles and laughs and fun. And there's just once in a while we have, a bad moment like that, and it's gone. It happens and it's gone real quick. And I think it was smart of her to suggest taking a selfie while we're in the midst of an argument. And that has happened before, where we've had arguments or disagreements, passionate discussions, where we've had these things come up before, and but they just pass so quickly. They pass in 10 or 15 minutes, and then we're fine again. And they've passed too quickly for us to get this selfie of us not being happy. So this one, I happen to have the presence of mind to take the picture. And we're just like everyone else. We're just trying to do our best to make each other happy and have a good time and have fun and love each other. So, but yeah, it's just it's a lot of fun. I'm a very lucky person, I think. Okay, I'm finally down to the end here. I've only got 2 things left to talk about. Firstly, Dunkin' Donuts. Fucking Dunkin' Donuts. I go to Dunkin' Donuts this morning, right? Because Dunkin' Donuts kills it with their sandwich game. Their coffee sucks, okay? I don't care who you are. Their coffee sucks. It's awful. But they kill it with their sandwich game. Like, I go to Aroma Joe's for coffee. If I want a sandwich, like, you only have like 3 or 4 options, and you can't even mix them up. Like, if I go to Dunkin' Donuts and I'm like, I want a bacon, egg, and cheese on an English muffin, they'll make that for me. But if I'm also like, well, I want a bacon, egg, and cheese, but on a plain bagel, or an everything bagel, or cinnamon raisin bagel. My go-to for bagels, cinnamon raisin with cream cheese. That's my go-to bagel. But they'll make whatever you want on whatever you want. If I go to Aroma Joe's, they have bacon, egg, and cheese on some sort of bread. It's like a muffin. It's like an English muffin, but it's not an English muffin. I don't know what it is, but either way, I can't be like, well, I want a bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel. Like, no, you can't do that. Or they have a sausage, egg, and cheese on a muffin. I can't be like, I want my sausage, egg, and cheese on a flatbread. Nope, can't do that. You have your option. Here's your options, and if you want this, then we'll throw it in the fucking microwave for you. Otherwise, you can fuck off. So I go to Dunkin' Donuts this morning because I want a sandwich. That's my cheat day. Today's my cheat day. Monday through Friday, with all the going to the gym and stuff. Part of that was that I virtually cut coffee out of my life, and I cut out the breakfast sandwiches. So I was, part of probably what added to all of my weight was that every morning I'd go to Aroma Joe's and spend almost $10 buying a 32 ounce iced coffee with cream and sugar, and then this bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, and that's totaling up around like 800-900 calories. So that was part of the problem. I cut that out entirely. Now my breakfast is, sometimes on weightlift or weightlift calisthenic days, on those days when I'm working my muscles, I get a protein shake, and then on run days I just get a water, and I get 2 hard-boiled eggs and one piece of cheese, and that's breakfast for me. I hate it. I don't like hard-boiled eggs, but it's healthier than this other thing that I was eating. So but Sunday's cheat day. Sunday I get my coffee. Sunday I get my breakfast sandwich. So this morning I was like, I'm going to go to Dunkin' Donuts for a sandwich, and I'm going to go to Aroma Joe's for coffee. So I go to Dunkin' Donuts, right? And I saw a friend post the other day that he was actually sitting inside of Dunkin' Donuts, because Dunkin' Donuts hasn't been allowing people inside for fucking a year and a half because they're as stupid as the media. So he posts like, oh, getting to sit inside Dunkin' Donuts. And so I'm thinking, I drive up, there's a fucking line of cars outside. I'm like, oh, he posted that thing the other day, I can go inside. So I walk inside Dunkin' Donuts, and this woman immediately is like, sir, do you have an online order? I said, no. And she says, okay, it's online or drive-through only. I go, I was just fucking, I was like, whatever. I shook my head. I walked back outside, kind of, saddened by the fact that I'm not going to get my Dunkin' Donuts sandwich now. I walk back outside, and then I remember I get the Dunkin' Donuts app. I was like, oh, fuck. I walk out the door. I pull up the app. This all takes less than 2 minutes. I pull up the app. I order the fucking sandwich that I want on the app and place the order, and then I walk back inside. And another woman goes, sir, do you have or she goes, sir, it's online or drive-through only. I said, yeah, I just made an online order. You should have it waiting for you. She goes, oh, okay. Like, so now I can stand inside. Now I'm allowed to stand inside and wait. No masks. There's no one in there, not even the employees. No one's wearing a mask or anything. Now I'm allowed to stand inside in the lobby waiting for it's not like she was like, oh, okay, you placed an order? Okay, why don't you stand outside? We'll bring it out to you. No, none of that. No, it was perfectly fine for me to stand inside while they make my fucking like, what is happening? I don't understand how no one sees all the different hypocrisy that is going on. I don't understand it, and I don't believe it either. I don't believe that no one sees it. I believe that everyone sees it and just no one's saying anything. No one's fucking doing anything. Like, it's all so crazy. And this fucking stupid Delta variant war drum that the media is just beating. I mean, they were so excited to hear those two words, Delta variant. They were just so excited to hear those two words so that they could have a new toy. They have a fresh, shiny new toy. Everyone fucking got bored as shit with COVID, and they were like, we're done. Everyone. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you land on. Everyone was fucking tired of COVID, and they were like, we're over all of this, fucking, everyone was like, we're done with this fucking COVID bullshit. We're not going to mask anymore. Everyone, doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, fucking everyone was like, I'm done. And then the media gets a hold of these two fucking words, Delta variant, and they were like, oh, something new and shiny. And they fucking beat this war drum so loud, and it has more to do with clicks and ratings than it has less to do with health and science and safety. They don't give they just don't care to look into anything. Like, do I think that the Delta variant, I hate those two words so much. The DV, that's what I'm going to call it from now on. And it's apropos, too, to call it DV, because it's domestic violence. It's our domestic mainstream media causing violence against us by, it's fucking emotional torture. I'm not trying to downplay domestic violence, okay? But it's this DV thing. They're just so excited to fucking tell everyone about it, and they don't know. If you take the two, COVID by itself in the first place was like a non-issue. Okay, you're never gonna change my mind on that. You look at the real numbers. Like, there was only, I think there was less than 10,000 people who just COVID, who it was like just COVID killed this person. They beat this fucking drum of like, oh, the first million, the first 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, all these different people dying. But they say it as it's COVID only causing it. And it wasn't COVID only. And they attributed so many things. They were like, oh, this person had cancer and COVID, and so they died. They count as a COVID death. No, they don't. All right, if you gave me something real, if you gave me the Spanish flu, smallpox, something that is actually killing people by the millions, something like that, like, okay, I will take it seriously. I'll do your fucking little dance that you want. but this was just never going to be that. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't understand. The media didn't have enough to fucking talk about. And every news channel that you watch, they have like Roe watches the 6 o'clock news virtually every day. You watch the 6 o'clock news, and they'll do this like it's like a dark, ominous music. It's like a boom, boom, and it's like, and it'll flash across the screen. COVID update. And then they'll talk about fucking X amount of people diagnosed with COVID today. X amount of people died today. Like, no, stop it, okay? Can we please just stop? Like, the media doesn't even believe in this shit. Obviously, the media, you got fucking news anchors and shit standing there. They got no mask on. Fuck all these people. I'm so fucking. And what comes next? I don't think it's going anywhere. I don't think it ends. Because right now it's DV. What's it going to be after that? I can hardly fucking wait to see what because the media they don't want to lose their toy. They every time there's a fucking mass shooting, they can't wait to get their cameras out. Nobody hates a mass shooting as much as a pro-gun person. Nobody loves a mass shooting as much as the media. The media loves it. They fucking feed off of it. They can't wait to get out there. They can't wait to be the first one to have the information. Doesn't matter how accurate the information is. They don't give a fuck. They just want to be the first one, and they'll, if they're wrong, they'll print the redaction 6 weeks later on page 92 of the New York Times. Okay, let's get a little more lighthearted. Hold on, let me catch up on some comments here. I got like 9 comments from Ed Barton. The coffee went to crap a month after they went public. Aroma Joe's spinach stuffed pretzels to die for with cheese dipping sauce. Never had it. Now I'm going to have to try. Ed, it's not about a virus. No, I agree. It's not about a virus. It's all about what the media can fucking spin it as and how much ratings they can get. That's all they give a fuck about. The whole COVID shit is a scam and you're crushing it. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, all of this COVID bullshit, it's never going anywhere because the media can't let go of their toy. They're a little pit bull with a fucking toy in their mouth, and good fucking luck pulling that out. Good luck. And if you pull it out, they're gonna want something else. They're gonna find something else. I mean, even fucking mass shootings, like a mass shooting right now, I guarantee would not get the exposure that the media is currently giving to COVID. There could be another Las Vegas right now. The media will focus on it for a couple days, and then they'll go right back to COVID. And I don't know why. It's not like anything's going to change. Nothing's changing with it. This is one of those things that I think is here to stay forever. Like, we're gonna, this is like the media for the last 30 years making a big deal about the flu. Like, where was the media about the flu for the last 30 years? They never gave a fuck about the flu. They never fucking had any sort of flu update. Why is this different than the, H1N1? What are the other ones? I know there's H1N1, there's bird flu, there's fucking all these there's these things that have all come up in the last 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. There was one back in the 60s, I don't know what it was called, but back in the 60s during Woodstock, there was something similar to COVID then that went around, and fucking Woodstock still happened. So, it's all insanity. It's, and I'm very happy that, my life has continued on mostly unaffected. I hope that things don't go back. I hope that, there's not enough people for the media to win this fight. That's what I consider it. It's right now, it's a fight against the media. Can the media convince us a second time that everyone needs to be wearing masks? I don't know. I know that I had counseling the other day at the vet center for the first time in person in a year and a half. And I was psyched to go see my counselor for the first time in a year and a half. Not do it over the phone like we've been doing for a year and a half. I was psyched to go. I got there, I walked in the door, mask immediately. And I was like, what the fuck? And I go in and I sit with my counselor, and she told me that they were not doing masks. They started doing in person again about 2 months ago, and they weren't doing masks. And then all the DV shit popped up, and they made them start wearing masks again. So I don't know. I'm over it. I'm ready for. I think most people are just ready to ditch their mask. I have worn my mask exactly 0 times. So I'm over all of it. So all right, moving on. Loki. Me and Ro finally finished watching Loki. I know we're way behind with everyone else. We didn't even start it until like early July. I think it came out like June 12th or something like that, and we didn't even start it until early July, and it took us this long to get to finish it. I think we watched episode 5 like, I don't know, a week or two, maybe 2 weeks ago. We watched episode 5, and we finally finished it last night. And a good series, but I was a little disappointed with how abruptly it ended. I mean, it ended just really fast. Like the last 3 minutes or so watching it, I was like, there's no way this is about to end. And sure enough, it did. So that was a little disappointing. And I mean, I know there's a season 2, and it even says in the credits, Loki will be back for season 2, which is great. But like, I did not want a fucking Lost style ending to the season. I wanted at least some form of closure, which I didn't feel like I got. So, but I'll get a season 2. Here's one thing that I thought of though. Okay, so Loki spoilers. If you haven't watched it, skip forward a minute or two. If you don't want spoilers, but here's the thing. Episode 5 of that show, you have again, spoilers coming. Okay, skip forward. So you have our Loki that we're all used to, Tom Hiddleston. Fucking kills it as Loki. Tom Hiddleston actually wanted to play Thor. When he went to go test for the part, he wanted to play Thor, and they turned him down for Thor, but they were like, we actually think that you'll make a great Loki. And I think they got it right. I think that Chris Hemsworth plays a great Thor. But Loki, Tom Hiddleston as Loki is just amazing. He's great. So, but anyways, in episode 5, he's talking to all these other Lokis, and he says, so here's the thing. So in Endgame, in Avengers Endgame, he grabs the space cube, the Tesseract. He grabs that, and he zaps away, and that takes place in 2012, right after the Battle of New York, and that's all before Thanos killing him in Infinity War. That all happens long before that. Happens before Ragnarok. It all happens long before that. And in episode 5 of Loki, he says something to the effect of, "So you weren't killed by Thanos after Ragnarok." So he shouldn't have known any of that. I mean, unless he reads forward somehow, and I missed it. I don't think I missed it, but I don't remember him ever being able to read forward and see like what his future would have been after New York. So I thought that was interesting that he somehow knows that. He shouldn't have known that. I did like that. So before Endgame was released in theaters, I watched dozens of like fan theory videos about what's going on with, after Infinity War, what's going to happen. I watched dozens of fan theory videos on YouTube. And one of those fan theories was that Loki is alive because after or while Thanos is crushing his neck, they show like there's something floating out in space, and they think that thing is actually Loki projecting himself into Thanos's grip. And that was one of the fan theories, and I did love how the show addressed a fan theory of one of the other Lokis saying, I disguised myself as a piece of debris outside the ship, and I disguised myself so well that even the Mad Titan didn't know the difference. So I thought that was pretty cool. So either way, good show, and I'm looking forward to season 2. So I think that's going to do it for me today, whenever you're listening to this. I appreciate everyone who listened and checked in, and appreciate all my listeners, even the friends and family that just don't fucking say anything. I've never once said anything. Only come here to listen, to report back. The rumor mill, if you will. But whatever. I don't care. I'm going to keep living my life as I do, as I always have. Suicide prevention line, 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK. Or you can text the prevention line, 741-741. You can check out the Facebook pages, Adulting Donnie on Instagram, Adulting with Donnie podcast on Facebook, and Adulting Donnie Super Secret Club on Facebook. That's a Facebook group. It's a private group, and I have to approve you to enter it. So you can do that. And don't forget my sponsors, 4HM Clothing. I talked about them earlier. MileHighAngel.com, AdamEve.com, and Manscaped.com. Use offer code ADULTING at any one of those websites for varying degrees of discounts or free shipping. You can get all that stuff there. So that's it for me. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great fucking week. All right, see ya.